In the days of old, the sorcerers of Rivellon cured the sick and healed the wounded through a great power called Source. But a terrible darkness invaded the land, and Source was forever tainted. The sorcerers who once healed now only destroy, and madness has overtaken them. A few brave Source hunters are all that stand between Rivellon and the dark power that threatens to destroy it. Wherever Source appears, hunters follow.
Rise and shine, Master Source Hunters. The captain wants you up on deck. Hear them gulls? Means we're close to shore. I don't envy you going there, Master Source Hunters. City's full of undead, hungry enough for blood. But you're supposed to investigate that murder, ain't you? They say it's Source that did the Counselor in. Source in a city like Sicil. Nowhere safe anymore. Here they are, Captain Sir.
God's blessings on you, hunters. You'll be happy to hear we've reached Sicil. But there's trouble offshore, so we'll have to sail in carefully. Here, have a look. Those are orc ships, and they're blocking our passage. We'll get you as close to the city as we can, and drop you off at the beach. Be wary now. Orcs are on the attack. Undead have closed every route out, and there's a sorcerer on the loose. If we're to get justice for the Counselor, you'll have to keep your wits about you. May the luck of the gods be with you both, Source Hunters.
War-weary blade.
If I didn't know there were orc ships raiding to the west, I'd mistake this for a placid beach.
At least the orcs make a bit of noise when they attack. It's dark-dealing sorcerers that'll strike with neither warning nor mercy.
Is that a corpse? What's it doing here alone?
What? Did you expect it to have an entourage? Can you believe this? The man jumped off a cliff at the behest of some statues, of all things.
Pure madness. How could someone be so utterly naive?
Agreed. Call me skeptical, but a little proof goes a long way for the rational mind.
Source hunters! How did they find us?
Take the stone to the temple. These whelps will be easy to crush.
As you say, Madam Conduit.
Arise, fair dead! Seize upon our enemies!
I invoke the power of the giants. Chaos grips my hands today. Their leader said something about escaping with a stone.
Stolen from this dungeon, I imagine. Can we get inside?
Those thieves were more than petty criminals. Their leader gave life to the dead. What stone could they have been so keen on taking?
We can't well turn away from such an odious show of source. Let's investigate the tomb and see what answers it might reveal.
Indeed. For all we know, these dark-dealing thieves may be involved with Councillor Jake's murder.
I needed that. This seems to be broken. This seems to be broken. Careful! There's a mine in the middle of our path.
Someone must have an interest in protecting whatever's kept here.
Better to detonate that mine safely than trip over it myself.
Stone was pretty, but hardly as tasty as a nice crumb of stale bread. Oh well, whatever tickles your whiskers.
I've always heard there's typically more to a king's tomb than meets the eye.
It could be a myth, or it could be our lucky day.
I'll need to unlock this somehow. Let's see. Key, lockpick, or hammer. This seems to be broken. What's this? I found something.
We made short work of that door. but I don't imagine our weapons would survive such use for long.
Careful now, that's a trap.
How nice to meet your acquaintance. We rats may be small, but that makes it all the easier to keep our ears to the ground. Friendly-wise, I'd say we rodents are the best friends an adventurer can make.
This seems to be broken. Well, what's this I've spotted? Downstairs.
The last thing we need is to surprise another angry summoner.
I feel uneasy here. I better keep my weapon at the ready.
My robes are soaked! You'd better hope there's no hint of a flame in this place. Oh, I wouldn't worry about that. No one can get in here but us and the boss.
Seven have mercy on your soul.
This seems to be broken.
you, you're as pretty as a starstone. I may not be able to see past your ankles, but I'm sure of it.
A living rat dares disturb the slumber of the dead? A thieving fool insults the sanctity of the grave? The bloodstone defiler, where is it? Strange indeed. Robed indeed. Your tricks will not save you from retribution, deceiver. The bloodstone, deliver it now and I may deign to end you quickly. I suppose you only crept among these sacred tombs for leisure. I suppose you had no lust for the treasure of the dead. Ha! In life, I toiled to care for these holy grounds. In death, I protect them from profaners and poachers. The legacy of Cecile is mine to preserve. Her traitors are mine to destroy. Run if you like, defiler. Whichever way you take leads you to the grave.
Target dances in shadows.
Death never dies, fool. Death in 1,000 forms rules all.
Look! A wanderer comes my way, walking the sands upon which this poor shell must suffer. Call me Ishmael, son of the sea, an outcast upon these wretched shores. An exiled shell, doomed to live under a canopy of arid sky, not his native, tender water. My fate is a cruel one, I assure you. How many snot-noses have held me up against their dirty little ears, only to claim they can hear the ocean? Of course they can hear her, the brats! We are on the very edge of the great aquatic mother, whose embrace I so desperately long for. Of course I can talk, don't be silly. There's more tongue to me than heart. Indeed, the surprise should be mine, for I still remember the days when your kind swung from branches and plucked the vermin out of their neighbor's fur. Time is an indulgent mistress to one who spends happy hours as she passes. But when your existence is one of misery, she becomes a lethargic hobby. Oh, I remember ancient times, for I have lain here since antiquity, when the ruins around us were palaces, and the sun-bleached dead merry children. All this I have seen, alive, alone, alas. Yes, yes, I, King of Pearls, ache to repose anew on his coral throne. Hurl me toward the water, swing me as far as your arm's strength gives release, and treasure long sunk I will grant thee. What do you say, kind knight? Will you return the King of Pearls to the sea, so he may yield you long-lost treasure?
Kindness is its own reward, and then there's the promise of treasure to boot. Let's throw him into the sea.
And pass up the opportunity of simply taking him and selling his valuable pearl? I think not.
How very short-sighted. A pearl is worth a few coins to be sure, but who knows what riches lie hidden beneath the waves?
But he called himself the King of Pearls. Worth, I'm sure, a king's ransom.
No, we'll do as I say, and there's an end to it.
Liberator, kind benefactor, bless me the might of your sea-bound witch. The sea, I have returned, where every wave feels like a mermaid's kiss. May the bounty of the deep be yours, along with my eternal gratitude.
Hold it right there, orc scum! No one slips past the Legion unchallenged.
Calm down, Junius. Doesn't look like one of them orcs to me. Not a single horn in sight, you know.
Just hold your tongue, will you, Bibius? Can't be too careful. We are sworn to protect Scythiel.
What do you want to know? So, it's Jake you're looking for. Ship sailed on that one, I'm afraid. Fellow's dead. Murdered.
Can't tell you much more, except that I heard he was found face down in a puddle of blood, being used as a water fountain by his own pet mongrel.
They say 'twas his wife that did it, and I'd bet a bottle of brandy they're right. A devilish flirt, that one.
As if that proves anything! Just keep your trap shut, will you, bibbies? Bunch of barbaric bastards, a lot of them! They'll kill your spouse and eat your children. We've been putting up a fight against them, to be sure, but they have the strength of an ox in every single one of their fingers. Takes an army to dress down a dozen.
Well, we did bring a legion.
Just bite your lip, will you, bibbies?
Seal, yes. Where fishermen come to live and street dogs come to die. Now, which of the two would you be, then?
Just cut the cackle, will you, bibbies? Now then, stranger, if it's the city of Seal you're looking for, you're heading in the right direction. Even though most folks are trying to escape rather than reach the damn place these days. Not that I could blame them. This place is cursed, I tell you. First the dead rise from their graves, and then entire tribes of orcs sound the trumpets of war. You take to the rifle, lass. We're legionnaires, of course. On the lookout for orcs, for they've been attacking from the sea. God knows why they do it, but we stand firm. We of the Legion, liberators of Riverlon.
Liberators of liquor too, aren't we, old chum?
Shh! Just pipe down, will you, bibbies?
Ever kept the watch? Stood on the lookout for hours on end, bored stiff. Boredom's a demon, buddy, and booze is the demon hunter. There. I do declare it's time for this hunter to take another shot. Huzzah!
Aye, a noble word for watchdog, that. For that is what we do. Watch over the local dogs that ever so often aim for one another's throat, and separate them to keep the peace. Separate by the sword, that is.
Best way to calm a wily dog is to neuter it. Ha! Spay for pay, Legion's motto.
Just put a sock in it, will you, bibbies?
So, you're sorcerers, are you? And how are we supposed to verify that's true? We can't read, my friend. So for all we know, those papers say you're a polymorph parrot on the lookout for a two-bedroom birdcage. They don't prove a thing.
You know what? We'll take you two to the wizard. I know he reads. He has books large as a house, that one. Yeah, he'll squeeze the truth out of you, one way or another.
The wizard, you say? Sounds good to me. Lead the way.
Agreed. A wizard is bound to know more about what is going on around here.
Captain, come along. We're not far from the city. Lovely day for a swig and a song, isn't it? Fare thee.
It's not that I'm not happy with Junius. It's just that Bibius is always dropping juicy scraps. Ah, well, you know what they say. The grass is always greener.
Lovely day for us. What do you want to know? Fare thee well.
You keep them eyes open, you hear? Shh. If the orcs show up, I don't want to have to face the buggers alone.
The heat and the drink are getting the better of me. Gosh, above my sleepy. Don't tell me you're afraid. You should have enough liquid courage in your system by now that you're ready to face an army.
I need another chance!
How could that happen?
No glory in this death!
Those orcs.
How very
Damn
curious
traitor.
and
Where are
disquieting.
Bibius and Junius? Didn't they hear the fight?
Blast it all! Sodden all the way to my boot soles.
Oi, the Sauce Hunter! I'm a proud legionnaire and always will be, but I thought we'd be doing more slashing and less dying when we landed in Sicil. Beats me what traitorous madness came over that dog. A man among orcs? It'd be like one of your kind running with a sorcerer. Whatever the Cur's incentive to raise swords alongside that murderous lot, let's all hope it was a private grudge. Can you imagine if we had to add a slew of wild-eyed, orc-loving bedlamites to our list of enemies in Sicil? Bloody orcs are at it again. Beats me what on earth they want in Sicil. This is their second attack within as many weeks, and their second defeat. That rat-faced shaman of theirs even went to the trouble of launching a fireball at a ship in the harbour to the west of here. They may need help. I would go myself, but we legionnaires are under strict orders never to abandon our posts. Never know when another one of these little raiders might sidle up the beach.
What's all this ruckus? Sounded worse than a dozen tomcats fighting over the world's last mackerel. Ah, but I see we've suffered another orc landing. And judging by the relative ease with which it was dispatched, I can only come to one conclusion. Source hunters have arrived in Sicil. You're as welcome as a glass of cooled milk on a hot day, my friend. I'm Ahu, at your service. It was I who requested your presence in this troubled city. So you were, and so you weren't. Behold, there we are. Meet my other half, Hunter. Ha ha! No need to look so flabbergasted. I may be a wizard rife with tricks and guile, but I assure you my plea is an earnest one. So, now that the cat is out of the bag, let us turn to the matter of Councillor Jake's murder. It's hard to put my finger on it, but I can feel in my very whiskers that sorcery was at play. Visit the scene of the crime, and I'd bet sardines for salad you'll say the same. Captain Aureus, though, the local commander of the Legion, insists I'm seeing ghosts. I insist he's blind to all but the undead. So there are, or rather, there is. Popular opinion has it his wife did the deed. But to be frank, I have my doubts. She seems a likely candidate, to be sure, but that would make her a sorceress. Esmeralda knows how to charm, yes, but I just don't see her magic extend beyond a frolicsome look and wink. Still, don't simply take my word for it, Hunter. It may be well worth your while to cross-examine her yourself. The Legion has her under guard in her shop near the town square. That's where you'll find poor Jake's widow. Jake was murdered in a downstairs room of the King Crab Inn, up in Sicil proper. The Legion keeps it under lock and key, though, so you'll need Aureus's permission should you want to have a peek. A human, you say? Truly? But that would be like a kitten leading a wolf pack. And yet, I have heard rumors about a sect of sorts, a shadowy set of worshippers that associate even with orcs. Some say they're sorcerers, but people will say that about anyone who behaves a bit strangely nowadays. I don't quite know what to make of this news, but thank you for informing me. It'd be foolish to dismiss such a curious event out of hand. Ah, the undead. They've been clawing their way out of the ground for 2 years now. And for 2 years, the stalemate between them and the living has been dragging on at a weary pace indeed. The Legion did a good job keeping them at bay, but I think it's fair to say that without my magic-infused ballistary, they'd have gotten the better of us by now. Someone is responsible for the outbreak. Necromancers are at work, but who are they and where do they hide? Alas, that searching for them is like searching for a single louse in a lion's mane. Unfortunately, that is absolutely correct. The Orc siege is yet another hairball stuck in this city's already choking throat, and it shows no signs of abating. We've cordoned off the western beach where most Orc activity has been reported. For the 9 lives of me, I can't seem to figure what they're doing here. There's nothing of interest along the waterfront, except for a set of caves with an unfavorable reputation. Maybe they're after some pirate's treasure, the fools. Oh, but that's not a trick. It's a blessing. Or does it surprise you that I enjoy taking a feline guise? Such magic is a gift, Hunter. To tread upon the realm of instinct. Even articulate speech, perhaps humanity's greatest asset, cannot give expression to something so inextricably innate. To be out in the night, to stalk on silent paws and hunt with only the moon as your witness. You couldn't possibly imagine the thrill. But of course, it's handy to speak in more than meows. And I couldn't brew potions or make machines without opposable thumbs. This I freely admit. Let's just say I have found a way to enjoy the best of 2 worlds.
Good on you. These boss men respect confidence, you know.
I'm glad we've met, Source Hunter. And I'm certain we have a lot more to talk about. Feel free to visit me whenever you want. I've set up a workshop in the Legion's headquarters. Once you're there, just take the stairs, but do pay a visit to Aureus first. He may bark like a beagle with its tail stuck in the door, but you won't get very far in your investigation without speaking to the de facto leader of Sicil. And with that, I bid you adieu, Hunter.
Sects, undead, orcs. Oh, looks like we have our work cut out for us.
At least we won't be bored.
These boss men
How about we go see that Aureus chap, huh?
So what did he say?
Well, what does it matter? Day labour's more suited to my nature anyhow.
Yes, honest pay for an honest day.
Save that ship all by your lonesome. Quite the feat, if I had thought the old gal's fate was sealed when the... I don't know how you did that, hocus pocus, but boy, am I grateful.
I don't know how you did that.
Really? The greatest warriors in Rivellon can't cross a rope.
Oh, a source hunter. Who better to ask?
A home, a livelihood. All these damn orcs. They can't keep off this place for the life of them. They came in here slinging fireballs and swinging swords. Well, we were merchants what seems like a moment ago. With our ship gone, nothing for it but to get a job. Slim pickings around. That was a right stunning show of magic you pulled, it was.
Have you found us a job yet? Well, these bleeding orcs. Well, that was a right.
Have you found us a job yet? We'll take anything, really.
Steady, boys, steady. We'll be leaving as soon as we're packed up.
Well, tuck my tail and call me Bessie. A 2 feet addressing me directly? Huh, I thought I'd never see the day. Oh, me and my brother Bull have dragged this here cart all around Sightseal. Speaking of Bull, you ought to say hello to him. He's clairvoyant, you know.
I'm seeing 2 feet approaching me, and here you are. I'm Bull, the leading clairvoyant in Sightseal. Of course, most winsome 2 feet, of course. Well, that depends, 2 feet, that depends. I see that love has caused you to falter in the past. Yes, falter dearly. You must reconcile your mistakes before you will find true love. Why, yes, most wealthy indeed. But you must be vigilant, 2 feet, for I see that your wealth will come by bloody means. Death. Ever the most difficult topic to foretell. I see. Oh dear. No. No. Your reading is over. Do you hear? Over.
Keep your pleasantries to yourself. If it's conversation you're looking for, I'd recommend my comrade Florius, or as I prefer to call him, Loose Lips McGee. As for myself, my job is to protect this warehouse, not chit-chat with intruders. That idiot man-child would sooner spend an hour chatting up a thief than a minute arresting him. I only hope he gets transferred out of this warehouse and straight to the perimeter. Let him rot off as zombies here instead. Even thinking of him turns one into a gabbing hen. Please, leave me be.
Well, a source hunter. A very hearty welcome to our humble warehouse. Have a look around. And don't mind if I pick your brain about the scoop around Undervale. I'm behind on my current affairs.
Salutations! Source hunters, I see. I'm Sergeant Curtius, proud protector of this house of Legion goods. This is a storing house for Legion supplies, perhaps the most important building in the realm, by my and others' estimation. And I, Sergeant Curtius, have been trusted to guard it. Curtius is my name, the Legion is my calling.
This place reeks of orc stench. Well, a source hunter. About time the council took us seriously. Maybe you can start with the 2 idiots hiding their pet orc here.
Salutations! Source hunters, I see. I'm Sergeant Curtius, proud protector of this house of Legion goods.
duty's not so bad, eh?
Would be quite a bit better if I could do it in peace.
Just making conversation, mate.
Mate, he says. We are colleagues, nothing more.
Come now, it's just a turn of phrase.
Will you please turn your phrases elsewhere?
Report!
Nothing to report, sir.
You never have anything to report.
Isn't that a good thing? Back again? Got any juicy stories for eager ears, I tell ya, this gig sure beats getting my toes bitten off by zombies out in the field. We warehouse guards don't have to do much apart from stroll the perimeter a few times an hour. And of course, every now and again, some friendly folks, like yourself, will wander through here. And nothing beats a pleasant conversation, though my comrade Horatius has quite different opinions on that matter. Have you talked to him? Thinks every man, woman and child who steps foot in this place wants to rob it blind. If I so much as greet a townsperson with a hello instead of a state your purpose, he starts frothing on and on about godly duty and security breaches. This Jake business is quite the scandal, no? I myself suspect his wife Esmeralda, and the butcher seconds that, let me tell you. Then again, and you didn't hear this from me, he's going through quite the nasty divorce himself. And there's his children to consider. But I imagine his youngest, Kimberly, won't mind. Never did get on well with her mother ever since the incident. Oh, it's an unparalleled pleasure having a fresh ear around here. That fusspot said what? Well, old Loose Lips will let that lowly backbiter know what he thinks about that. So, something you'd like to say to my face?
I haven't a thing to say to you. I'm on duty.
Duty, indeed. Put up your fists.
Are you mad? We're guards, not drunks on the street.
Enough! Both of you! What is this barbarism? Back to your posts at once!
Sir, this is an important matter. A matter of honor.
Such matters are to be settled on your own time. Understood?
Understood, sir.
Such bickering is all that thieves need to sneak by unnoticed.
One day, Moira. One day you'll show them.
Cast your gaze instead upon my fair, fanged filly.
Ah, who better than a proven orc crusher to convince my dumbbell of a friend here that orcs are predators, not pets?
Enough of that. I know how dangerous an orc can be, but this one has been reformed. Anyone can see that she's completely docile. But my prejudiced friend here still wants to kill her. My friend here and I were patrolling outside the city walls, when who did I see creeping along the shore but this lovely orcish lady? For a brief second, as long as eternity, we locked eyes. Perhaps confused by the butterflies in her stomach, she sprang up and began running, claws bared towards Marius. Fortunately for him, I had the presence of mind to ignore my sword and instead adroitly fling my pouch of trinkets towards her. A vial of love potion shattered over her head, and when she turned to face me, she became instantly enamored. I'm sure she must have been compelled to join the Orcish army under some kind of duress. A lady with such a sweetly savage manner would never willingly join up with those vicious marauders.
Ha! I can assure you there wasn't a hint of sweetness in those murderous eyes when she lunged at my throat. She may be confined here for now, but who's telling when she'll escape and who she'll rip to shreds?
Ah, I've always had an amateur interest in all things alchemical. When I read in an esteemed periodical from the Wizards of Youthful Gore about an amazing opportunity that could change my life, I had to act fast or lose the once-in-a-lifetime deal. I sent away for the world-famous love potion, available for a limited time only.
You see what a fool my friend has been, spending all his cash on snake oil and bringing a temporarily tranquilized monster into our midst to boot.
What kind of monster would lie in a published advertisement? I'm sure the effects of the potion will be everlasting, as printed.
Maybe before the Great Orc Raid we had time to indulge Ninius's idiotic obsessions. But now we're needed at our posts. I can hardly believe I've been wasting time protecting an orc when I should be running them through.
Excuse my friend's violent outbursts. He hasn't enjoyed a woman's touch in quite some time now. It makes him a bit edgy.
Your woman's touch is less of a loving caress and more of a claw shanked brutally through the throat. I'll take my chances as a bachelor, thanks. You see, he'd believe it was noon at midnight if he read it on a printed pamphlet. Please tell me you can reason with him, or ditch reason and use your sword to shave him from his murderous darling.
She's got to be put down. If this love potion is as dodgy as it sounds, she could come to her vicious senses at any time.
What's the point in causing more pain in this beleaguered city? Question her and see what comes of it.
You must realize that if this orc gets loose in the city, we're the ones who'll have to put her down and deal with the bloody aftermath.
Think of the intel this creature could provide. And if she begins to revert, these men are armed and will be able to subdue her.
All right, we'll do it your way.
Bravo! I trust not only the potion, but my scaly sweetheart in and of herself.
You're going to regret this. We're all going to regret this.
Stick of time, eh, my friends?
Source hunters here. Good luck with this.
It never ends around here.
What's this? I found something.
a great thirst for colour. So
Fantastic!
ardently did he crave creamy blues and gory reds that he ordered a contest across his realm.
My word!
Today, I think, a king.
My
the
word!
great Sigurd and his rainbow of war machines.
You there? You look like an actor just waiting for his big debut.
My word! Zombie ate your dog, orc sunk your ship. No matter! You're at Katerina's Fair, a veritable summer home for troubled minds. Well, I'm Katerina the Fair, fairest first lady of the fair, of course. I do love making the acquaintance of my patrons, and who knows which of them might become one of my performers. I've an open stage in want of talent, and I've often found the best young performers among the rank and file of the audience. The theatre's fever has overcome you, has it? Marvelous! I do so love a fresh green talent ready to bloom. But I support players, not writers, you see. If you want to perform here, you'll have to find tried and true material. Check the library and see if any of the classics there interest you. I'd love to see a Source Hunters take on one of the old standards.
My word!
And who are you supposed to be? Don't you have an impressive library here in Sicil? I'm sure that beast of a librarian could rustle something up for you. Take it up with Katerina. She's the master of this pig circus after all. Oh, I should have been one of the greats. But here I am gathering peasants to watch peasants perform broadside pageants for peanuts. No, really? I hadn't noticed. If not for this ridiculous condition, you'd know me as the king's favorite thespian. You there! Sit! Stay a while. Right in front. I'll excite you. I'll delight you. I'll beguile you. I'll besmile you. I'm Cedric the Sensational, and I'm playing to an empty audience. Don't pity me. No, sir. When Reginald came, he brought some fantastic prop with him. Now, have you seen it? A talking head. Now, I never expected a silly gimmick like that to be my main competition. It seems even my usually choosy audience has been taken in by that hack's little gizmo. I'm a man of skill, sleight of hand, feats of wit, and pure entertainment. This curio is ruining what used to be an art. And even when there's no crowd to speak of, old Reggie still has at least one fan calling bravo and hee-haw. Sure as the sun sets, that one devotee attracts 5 more, and those 5 more all curious about the commotion. I don't know how he inspires such loyalty with less talent contained between his hat and his boots than I've in my crusty handkerchief.
This here is the greatest illusion!
Fantastic!
What are you looking at me for? There's a great show going on right in front of you. And look, there stands the world-famous Reginald the Entertainer. Better check it out if you don't want to miss the time of your life. Oh, I'm nothing but your average man taking in the best show I've ever seen. I'm amazed and astounded that for a meager gold coin or two, I can take in this first-rate entertainment all day long. Well, I've stumbled into quite the fine gig. I just let my appreciation for Reggie's work be known, and he slips me a few gold coins in return. My voice happens to carry pretty far. Sicil hears me. Sicil wants to see what the fuss is all about. And let me tell you, this amazing show just can't be beat.
Ah, a familiar face. Come, watch the show. I, a person whose sole job is to praise the performance and stir a crowd. A genius invention. No wonder Reginald has had such success. Please, you must hire him for me. Imagine the scowl on that con man's face when my rightful audience returns to me. Don't pity me when...
What are you looking at me for? There's a great show going on right in front of you. And, well, I don't see why I should. Reginald and I have grown rather friendly, you know? And in any case, it'll be hard to pull myself away from this fantastic show.
King, the great Sigurd and his rainbow of war machines. It is said, and this I have heard from a ghost who knew Elliot, who is said to have known Sigurd himself, that the king had a great thirst of
Fantastic!
So ardently did he crave creamy blues and gory reds that he ordered a contest across his realm.
Well, I guess it's been long enough since I've stretched my wings a bit, and it ain't so far of a flight now, is it? Maybe I will have a peek at what Cedric's up to over there.
Elliot, who is said to have known Sigurd himself, that the king had a great thirst for colour. What? Where is everyone trotting off to? Don't they want to hear how the story ends? They haven't even heard the legend of the three-legged goat and the blind orphans of East End.
Strange! You appear to be my only client. Did the whole of Sicil eat some bad chicken, or what? I knew that fool could never have garnered so much as a guffaw on his own merits. I'll see to this matter immediately.
What? Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti. Oh, excuse me, I'm trying to prepare for the next show. Autographs will have to wait until the end. I doubt I have to tell you that I am the amazing singing Stefan, the only sentient severed head in Sicil. Psst. You're a source hunter, aren't you? Oh, bless the seven. Oh, you've got to help me. I've been kidnapped. Pleasure to meet you. Now, please, Stefan has many fans to meet today. Psst, help me. Take me to Reginald's cellar. There I will reveal everything. It won't be the worst indignation I've suffered. Get on with it, then.
Everything we do seems to fortify your abilities.
I suppose your example has inspired me to reach heights I never before envisioned.
That inspiration hardly flows one way, my friend.
A little privacy at last. Out of earshot of that contemptible jester. We can finally speak freely. Where shall we begin? My true name is Nick. In life, I was an entertainer aboard the ship of the famed Pontius Pirate. I once dared to defy him and he savagely beheaded me for the attempt. Little did I know the abuse was only beginning. A wandering sorcerer, mad as the day is long, found my severed head on the beach and resurrected me. I spent months in his company listening to him blather on about his every inane opinion. When I asked him to return my head to my body, it must be in the Black Cove still, he became enraged and tossed my head into the sea. Reginald stumbled upon me some days later and consigned me into his horrid little show. I know not how long I've been entertaining slack-jawed imbeciles at the Sicil Fair. All I know is I just can't take it anymore. More than anything. But the chances are so slim with the Black Cove utterly infested with Pontius's undead cronies. My poor lost body is among them, sightless and silent in their vile company. For all I know, they're using it as a coat rack. Traveller, if there were any way you would brave the cove's depths and reunite me with myself, you'd be doing me the only kindness I'd have received in as long as my poor memory serves. That charlatan doesn't have a lick of his own talent, so he begs, borrows and beats it from those of us with a real vision for the stage. What I wouldn't give to give old Reggie a swift kick in the jugglers. Oh, to have legs again. It won't be the worst in...
Say, no one's around. You wouldn't raise a fuss if I, borrowed one of these fish, would you?
Borrow indeed. I'll sooner meet a cat wizard than see that merchant repaid.
Come now, I'll be good for it, I swear! I never would have dreamt of resorting to petty theft during better times, but what choice have I got now? If it's... Oh, my story's tired by now. I was happy enough, prosperous enough, before these lean times around Sicil began. Still, that doesn't waive a man's need to eat, you know. So what do you think? Should I snag a fish?
That merchant has to eat too, you know. Leave the fish alone.
Yes, you know what they say about giving a man a fish. This man should learn to stand on his own 2 feet.
I suppose you've got a point. Another day, another rumbling belly. A hungry man, you know.
That thief is free for now, but I wonder how long it'll be until his growling belly seduces him back onto the crooked path. Thank you for making that would-be thief see reason. I only hope your instruction lasts. The last thing the plagued people of Sicil need is a thief among them.
What are ye staring at? Some poor chaps lost their ship and want some work? Just send them to me, and tell them there's a bit of coin and a lot of rum coming their way if they don't mind a bit of honest labour. Captain Jack's the name, though the title may be a little generous at the moment. Those scallywags heard there be silver in the Lacula mines, and they abandoned ship like the lily-liver turkeys they are. Haven't seen them since the day we docked.
Have you found us a job yet? We'll take anything, really. So there's a captain offering booze and brass for a bit of crate loading? Gods be praised, you've done it, friend. Off we go.
Another perfect heist. You sneak with the subtlety of a tried-and-true cat burglar.
Why, thanks. I rather do, don't I? Ha! A few more heists and I'll be a fat cat in no time.
I wasn't, in fact, complimenting you. I was pointing out that you're behaving like a villain, not the heroes we're perceived to be. Fat cat. Dirty rat, more like.
Greetings! These stores are for our legion.
Step aside! Step aside! Ah! This maniac's gonna turn me into a meat pie! Ah!
The chicken has the right...
He's furious. She bit me. Pardon him.
Look at that cute...
If this chicken belongs to the chef, setting it free would be the equivalent of theft.
Greetings! These stalls are for our Legion troops. Riverland's finest work up mighty fine appetite, serving for 7. You don't think it's a fact, do you?
We'll do as I say.
Yippee-ki-yay! I'm free! I'm free! So long, suckers!
Why did you let my chicken escape?
Finest work up mighty fine appetite, serving for 7.
Sir, no, sir.
Ice blue eyes narrow beneath a heavy brow streaked with sweat and dust. Her hands tense into claws, held at the ready.
Her brow knits together, but something in her pose relaxes. She clears her throat.
I am Bear Daughter. I have not come here to find trouble with the Screech woman. She only startled me. And you are a source hunter. I have heard many tales of your order. Your history is long and honorable. This woman here, the one who now plots her revenge, she crept behind me while I was hunting, and I only defended myself. I would not hurt an innocent Screech woman on purpose. But soon their swords were upon me, and they forced me into this cage meant for dogs. Mother would rip the fur from her chest if she could see how they keep me.
Hey, who's that then? Come on, stand where my good eye can see you.
Easy, Tull. That's the source hunter you're talking to.
She may have the look of a woman if you squint hard enough, but she's no more than a wild animal. We got reports of a strange-looking outsider skulking through the town with her bow drawn. I found her crouched behind a tree, taking aim at a fat old rat trotting along the city walls. I tapped her on the shoulder to see what was what, and the beast startled like a wild cat and lunged right at me.
Bit Tullia right in the face, she did. It wasn't pretty, and now it's got a chunk ripped off it to boot.
Enjoy it while you can, Ver. There's not another legionnaire in the cohort that'll have you if I go rabid.
Well, that's to be decided. She doesn't seem to be sick, despite Tully's moaning. We can't keep her here forever, but we can't well send her into the wilds again, can we?
Perhaps it'd be worth taking this stranger under our wing. She'll likely come in handy if we can trust her to watch our backs.
After all, a fearless hunter might prove quite useful for our investigation.
Well, that's a relief, ain't it? We found a good home for her after all, Tull.
Heed me, Source Hunter. She's not good for anything more than cannon fodder. And don't turn your back on her when she's got that bow within arm's reach.
Source Hunter, I have heard tales both grand and terrible about the world of humans. I myself was caged one moment and freed the next by our kind. In Home Forest, every creature acts according to the nature of its kind. Birds frighten easily, badgers fear little. But amongst men, there are no guarantees.
Shut about face! To the barracks! March! Be close! That was something.
It is difficult for me to claim humanity as you do. I am still learning to see myself in the faces of those I meet. And those I meet do not always see themselves in me. It is strange to stand with one foot in the forest and the other in the city, Source Hunter. I am glad that now I have you standing beside me. You say you will take me under your wing, but I see no feathers. Are you a child of the birds, as I am of the bears? In truth, this is a relief. Your world is made with rules I have not yet memorized. I am happy to have a friend in such a place. And so the lonely babe was fed upon the wild mother's milk, and cast aside from humankind, he thrived among his mother's ilk. So says the saga of Thris. Do you know it? The wise godwolf Amira raised the child Thris among her litter. So you see, I have good company. Dries the Wolfson, and I the Bear Daughter. Ask freely, my friend. Your city is far more wild than Home Forest. In Home Forest, the rules are clear. In Home Forest, your strength and speed determine your fate. Here, a tiny screech woman, no swifter than a mudworm, might confine you into a tiny cage, and one must wait for a kind stranger to grant freedom. I have learned all the bird song that Jarrett could teach. I remembered every word. These tales have brought me much pleasure. The remembering of the beasts is without lies. We know not to approach the wasp's nest because long ago one bear mother discovered its dangers. This she taught to her cubs, and those cubs taught the next. We do not remember Rito and the battle of the buzzing brutes. We remember only what is useful to us now. Rito will be forgotten. The beauty of the story will be forgotten. But the lesson will not. It is different between beasts and humans. I am lucky to enjoy both ways. Jarrett, wise Jarrett, taught me the bird songs of our people. If not for him, I would never have learned more than the beasts could teach me. A beast's life is to survive. A human's is to know. I am both beast and human, and so I must do both. He came to me when I was small. A fierce, wild one, yet unaware of the difference between the other cubs and herself. He called to me in a soft song. At first I thought him a great bird. We each reached out to the other. We found each other. Jarrett visited me often, and in time I learned his songs and more. When he built a small cabin within Home Forest, I hunted his food and fetched his water by day while he studied his books and his magics. By night, by the fire, he'd tell me tales of the world of people. Jarrett is my master and my friend, my teacher and myself. He teaches me and I care for him. I heard this was a place of many people, so here I came. I have seen more faces here in a day than I had seen in all the days of my life together. But I have not found the face I seek. Jarrett is missing. It is my duty to find him. That mystery is thick and ugly as a swarm of hornets. It started with a great disturbance in Home Forest. A terrible disease came in the night and turned the birds and beasts soft and foul as carrion while they still lived. I watched countless of my loved ones die, rotted from the inside. When I ran to Jarrett to tell him what I had seen, his reaction was strange. He had no answer. The next morning, Jarrett did not emerge from his room. I left him be, but after 3 days I grew anxious. I broke down the door, and inside his chamber was nothing. His equipment, his books, all but some scraps of parchment were gone. He was kidnapped, and all his research was taken with him. The only clue I found was a letter among the scraps. I could not make out all the words, but I recognized the threat. Death, coming for you. And the signature? Attenborough. I do not know the one called Attenborough, but I know that if I am to find Jarrett, I must start there. Whoever this Attenborough may be, I believe he or she may know where Jarrett has been taken.
By all means. I can't say much more, but that they're madmen. All the more dangerous to us because of their alliance with what should be a natural enemy. You won't see me teaming up with a terrier in a hurry. Of course. I hope your investigation fares well. I can but piece together what few morsels fell from the grapevine into a rather disappointing meal, I'm afraid. They say a woman arrived in the King Crab Inn sometime after midnight. She retired to a room on the ground floor where she was soon joined by a man who had been nursing the same cup of wine for hours. I say man and woman because both of them were cloaked and recognized by none. About an hour later, another figure arrived, headed for the same room. Soon after, a terrible commotion erupted and the thundering light of magic was witnessed by the few remaining patrons. It took a while for the landlord to pluck up the courage to enter the mystery room. When finally he did, he found Jake there, dead. How and why he came to be there, no one knows. But I had a good look around the scene of the crime before the Legion barred anyone from entering. The traces of magic I felt were vile. Source, no doubt. I myself have none. Even though the rest of the town has already mentally tried and convicted Jake's wife Esmeralda. Now it may well be established that she is in fact the guilty party. I'm not claiming that I'm certain she's innocent, but let's just say that if I really thought this murder case would be so very easily resolved, I wouldn't have sent for source hunters. And what might those be? Oh, a mere trifle for one with the intellect of a feline and the engineering skills of a human. You basically construct a classic ballista, add a 100% legally obtained self-regenerating source of destructive magic to it, and Bobcat's your uncle. Those who are raising the dead dwell among us. They simply must be. But even though I've spent many a night leaping from tree to rooftop, watching on as citizens stagger home from the inn or simply burn the midnight oil, I haven't spied a single soul worthy of true suspicion. The enemy is wily. They know us better than we know them, and they've found ways to avoid both detection and distrust. Yet I am somehow convinced that you may succeed where the Legion and I have failed. Call it instinct. You have a flair for understatements, Hunter. I'm sure they are but a minor nuisance in the eyes of a born warrior. But to the Legion, they are green-skinned death incarnate. Until they conclude what mischief they intend to see through, or, less likely, they are conclusively defeated, we can but bar the gates and hole up like mice while the cats are on the prowl. But certainly, what would you like to know? Oh, that'll never happen. Granted, a witch could make the polymorph permanent if she'd enchant me in my cat guise, but I'll just have to be careful around witches, won't I? I'm my own wizard, you know, and I don't intend to become anyone's familiar. Oh, I am but a wizard, a guardian of man and beast. My task upon this earth is to protect. You see, my one desire is to my great regret, none of them purr as yet. Oh, but that's not a trick. Such magic is a gift to be out, but of course...
What have we here, then? A so-called source hunter, eh? Well, look, do what you must in Sicil, but don't make waves and don't interfere with the Legion's affairs, you hear? Gods above! Some politician snuffs it and everyone's in an uproar. Ridiculous! I told that wizard brat of an Ahu not to bother, but he just had to send for source hunters, didn't he? Bloody magicians. They see a pigeon poop and think sorcery's afoot. Nevertheless, I want to be kept in the loop, understand? I am in command of this town, not Mayor Cecil, not Ahu, and definitely not some hotshot source hunter. So investigate Jake's death if you feel so inclined, but report back to me the moment you discover something out of the ordinary. The scene of the crime is over at the King Crab Inn. You can tell the guard you have my permission to enter. Now off with you! Esmeralda is Jake's wife. Well, widow. Everyone in town, down to the crabs on the beach, is convinced she killed him. Now, the girl has the reputation of being a flirt. There is that. But that doesn't suffice as evidence, wouldn't you say? Or do source hunters rely on hearsay alone, perhaps? That certainly would explain some of the cock-ups you lot have made in the past. What? You're going to stand there and claim with a straight face your order never wrongly tortured and executed anyone? Hardly. but I won't stand for such nonsense. If you bring evidence before me, I'll evaluate it with perfect objectivity. The Legion relies on reason, see? Not idle superstition. I'm Captain Aureus, if you must know, leader of the Legion in Sicil. By which I mean I have the enviable task of commanding a battalion of walking dead. For I fear it may well be but a matter of time before the undead undo all my soldiers and turn them into drivelling hordes of their own misshapen number. If you must. Bravo! Figured that one out, did you? I haven't been stuck here for 2 years because we're being besieged by fluffy kittens, you know. Those brain-feasting freaks out there keep on coming, and it takes all the sword arms and all of Ahu's half-baked contraptions to keep them at bay. Keeping them at bay, that is all we do. Were that I could break their backs once and for all. How am I enjoying it? Are you spoiling for a fight, Hunter? Are you? Sicil stinks of fish, reeks of orcs, and on a good day, the wind disperses the stench of decomposing corpses. I can't remember the last time I had a proper piece of steak, and by now, I retch at the mere sight of sardines. So in conclusion, I am not enjoying Sicil. We are the pride of Rivellon, to be found and to be seen everywhere. We don't hide in the dark and lurk in corners like some I could mention. No, we protect the civilized from the barbaric, and we do so impeccably. I'd say they're looking for weak spots in our defenses. They can't make an attack over land for fear of Ahu's magical machines, so they're trying their luck by sea. They won't succeed, though. Not against the Legion. Yes, and he also spends most of his time in the guise of a cat, licking God's knows which body parts. Sects, sorcerers. He'll be seeing flying carpets next. You, again. Do feel free to depart from Sicil at your earliest convenience.